Hi, my name is Jonathan Green. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to design and 3D print a pencil holder using a program called Tinkercad. This video is designed for both the first-time Tinkercad user and for those who are also more experienced. If you already know a skill that this video is teaching, feel free to skip ahead. Let's get started. Tinkercad is a 3D design application used to make 3D models for 3D printing. It is a way for you to take your ideas from thoughts in your own head to models you can show others. This is the same type of software that engineers use to design planes and cars, only a little bit simpler to use and lacks some more complex tools. Tinkercad is commonly used to design and print things like phone cases, tree ornaments, toys, or even things like replacement dishwasher parts, headphone wire wraps, or business card holders. Tinkercad is web-based, meaning there's no software to download or installation required. Your models are stored online, so you can access your files and work on your creations from any computer in the world. All that is required is a computer with internet access. Okay, let's start with some basic skills. First, navigate to tinkercad.com in your web browser and click on Sign in the top right. If you're a new user, you'll need to create a username with a password, or you can use your existing social media accounts to sign in. I will use my Gmail account. Then you'll be brought to your dashboard page where you can see all of your designs. Click on Create New Design. And now you'll start with a fresh new design. So first, let's learn the basics. How to move around and navigate your new design. To rotate, you're going to click and hold the right click on your mouse. To pan, you're going to click and hold center click on your mouse if you have a center click. Additionally, to rotate, you can also grab the block that represents the workspace in the top left and rotate around. If you'd like to view from the top, you can simply click on the top view, or the right view, or the bottom view, and your view will change. For now, we're going to view the entire workspace. If you'd like to zoom in and out, you can use the scroll wheel or the plus and minus button if you don't have a mouse. And it's really important to get used to these navigation skills because we'll need to navigate and move the workspace around quite a bit while we're working with our models. Okay, you'll see this blue outline called the work plane. This is the space that we will work on. So if I were to grab a shape, such as this box, click on it, and click on somewhere on the work plane, you'll see it places it on the work plane. New shapes will always get placed on the blue work plane. Now this shape is a box, and we can control its dimensions by changing the white boxes. So we can change the dimensions to 30 by 30 millimeters by entering the number, or we can click and drag the dimension to change it as well. The white box on the top will control the height. You'll notice there are arrows. These arrows allow you to rotate the box. We will not use these arrows very often. The black boxes allow you to control a single dimension at a time, whereas the white box allows you to control 2 dimensions at a time. And finally, the black arrow at the top will allow you to lift the box off the work plane. And at any time, you can change the amount that you're lifting the box or the dimension that you're altering by entering a number. Now, say we wanted to select this box. We can use the lasso tool, which is just a left click and hold, and select the box in the viewable area. And now the box is selected again. If we wanted to copy and paste this box, we can either use the duplicate and repeat button here, or Control C, Control V on the keyboard. And you can see I've made an exact replica of the box. If I want to delete a box or a shape, I simply select it and press delete, or I can select it and press the trash can button. And of course, if I make a mistake, there's an undo button here, where I can undo and redo my last few actions. Now, I mentioned earlier that objects are only placed on the work plane. But what if I want to place an object on top of this box? Well, the answer is I would have to move the work plane. So here I would select the work plane tool, and I would move the work plane on top of my box. You can see now it's above the box. Now any object I place is going to be placed on that work plane, which you can see is above the box. And then I can move my work plane back and continue to work with my shapes. So we've covered some basic skills: how to navigate the work plane, how to move the work plane, how to place basic shapes, how to resize basic shapes, how to use the lasso tool, how to copy and paste, and how to move objects onto a new work plane. Next, we're going to learn an intermediate skill called the Align tool. The Align tool is a precise way to align two basic shapes with each other. So what we're going to do first is we'll place a box, and we'll place another box. We'll change the color of the second box so we can tell the difference between them. And we'll also change the dimensions to be 2, very thin, by 30. We'll also make it a little bit taller. Okay, the object is going to be to align this shape inside this shape. We could use the arrow keys and try and line it up this way and this way. But we may not get it right, and it may prove to be a little difficult. We never know if we're exactly in the center. So instead, what we'll do is we'll click on one shape, hold Shift, and click on another shape. And now you see we have them both selected. What we'll do is we'll click on the Align tool, or press L as the keyboard shortcut. And this gives us many small black circles. These black circles will help you align the two objects in the direction that the black circle lines are pointed. So say we want to align in this direction here. We can mouse over one of the black alignment dots to show you in a preview what the objects will look like after we click on them. So this will align about the center of both objects. Notice that the black circle is now grayed out because we can no longer select it as it's already aligned in this direction. Next, we want to align in this direction. If I were to use this black circle, I would align about the left face of the red square and the left face of the blue square. If I wanted to align about the center, I simply click on the center circle. And that's how you use the Align tool. A simple way to practice using the Align tool is by building a very simple house. Start with a box as your main floor, and you'll move the work plane to the top of the house and place a roof. Now, the first thing would be to align the roof to the base of the house. So I will select both, press L for align, and make sure that I am aligned about the center in both directions. And now you can see my roof is square to the rest of my house. As a simple exercise, go and use the workplane tool and basic shapes, as well as a line, to build your own house. You can make it as complicated or as simple as you'd like. And remember to have fun while you're doing it. Next, we're going to learn a tool called the Group tool. The Group tool will help you create new basic shapes when the basic shape you need is not automatically listed. For instance, this square with a cylinder cut in the middle, as shown on the left. In order to build this part, we need to understand what two basic shapes created: a box and a cylinder. So let's start with a box. We're going to change the dimensions for this demonstration to 30 by 30. And now let's start with a cylinder. Now, instead of this cylinder being a solid, we want to use it to cut a hole in a solid. So we will change the property to hole. And this can be done for any basic shape. Next, we're going to get this whole cylinder in the center of the box. We'll do so by using the Align tool. Finally, we will take the box and the whole cylinder, select them both using the lasso tool, and we will use the Group tool, which is located up here in the toolbar. Once we click Group, the hole shape will cut a hole in the solid shape. And now you have the shape that we started with on the left. You can also undo your change by ungrouping. And then the two shapes become separate entities once again. A good way to explore the Group tool is by building a very simple cup. Let's start with a cylinder and a cut cylinder. We will make the cut cylinder smaller than the solid cylinder, and we will use the Align tool to align them about their centers. Once they are centrally aligned, we will select them both and click Group. And we don't quite yet have a cup because it has no bottom. So what we will do is we will ungroup, we'll select the cut cylinder, and we will use the black arrow to raise it up just 2 millimeters. We'll select them both and click on the group icon again. And now our cup has a center. You can take this demonstration to the next level by using the Group tool to add a handle and make it a mug. Okay, let's get started. To build our pencil holder, we're going to start with a cylinder and a cut cylinder. The cylinder is going to be 50 by 50 millimeter in base dimension and 70 millimeter tall. And the cut cylinder is going to be 46 millimeter by 46 millimeter and 66 millimeter tall. You'll notice our cylinders are supposed to be circular at the top, but you'll notice that there are some straight lines along the edge. That's because computers don't actually know how to produce curved lines. They only know how to use straight lines. But computers get around this by using many, many straight lines to replicate what looks like a curved line. You can demonstrate this by increasing the number of sides of each of your cylinders. And as the number of your sides gets higher, the more it looks like a circle. Next, we're going to align the cut cylinder inside the solid cylinder using our align tool in this orientation and this orientation, as well as the top. This enables our pencil holder to have a base so your pencils don't fall out. And then finally, you can select both and use the group tool to actually produce the cut. Great. Now comes the creative part of our design. Feel free to add any shape that you'd like, but for this demonstration, I'm going to create a series of cutouts on the pencil holder using an octagon. So first I'll grab the polygon tool, and I will change the number of sides on the polygon from 6 to 8. That makes our shape now an octagon. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the octagon 90 degrees in this orientation and 22.5 degrees in this orientation. That way it sits flat on the work plane. Finally, the last thing I'm going to do is increase the length of the octagon. Doesn't matter how much we increase it by, as long as it's longer than the cup of the pencil holder. And you'll see why in just a moment. Okay, next step is to the next step is to change this polygon from a solid to a hole. This is what we're going to use to cut out the shapes in our pencil holder. Then we'll select both the pencil holder base and the polygon, and we'll align them in this orientation and this orientation so it's centered. Finally, we're going to grab our polygon shape and we're going to raise it up to about 46 millimeter. And you now see that if we group these two objects, the polygon is going to cut a shape out of our pencil holder. We can demonstrate this quickly. Now this is very cool, but we do want to repeat this pattern a few more times. So we're going to ungroup what we had just grouped, and we're going to grab our polygon. We're going to copy and paste. And to do so, you can either use Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste, or the copy and paste buttons here. We're going to take our shape that was just copied, and we're going to move it out of the way, just for a moment. Next, what we are going to do is we're going to group just the first polygon and the base of the cup holder. And you'll see why in just a moment. Let's go back to our second shape. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And we're going to align it with the base of the cup holder, just like we did the first polygon, in this orientation and this orientation. And now we have two octagons offset 90 degrees from each other. Now, if we were to group it, it would produce a pattern of cuts that looks pretty cool. We're almost there. We're going to repeat this pattern of octagon cuts along the rest of the height of the piece. But to do so, we need to ungroup twice. And what we're going to do is we're going to select both of the cut polygons, and we're going to group them together. That way, when we copy and paste them, we do half the amount of work because we don't have to do it for each polygon. Select the polygon groups, copy and paste a new set, and we're going to lower the set down by 12 millimeter. Next, we're going to rotate 45 degrees. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Before we align, thanks for watching, and happy creating with the cup holder base, the pencil holder base, we need to group the previous polygon cut and the pencil holder base so that they don't move separately of each other. Now we can group the new pencil holder base and the new polygon cuts. First by aligning, and then by grouping. And now you see our patterns start to take form. And now it's simply a matter of repeating the steps that we have just performed before. So I'll undo my groups. I will copy and paste the latest polygon set. I will rotate 45 degrees. And I will drop it down 12 millimeters. And I will do this one more time. And that should be enough to complete our demonstration. So I will group the first polygon cut, then align the second polygon cut again, and group it together. Now I will align the third polygon cut and group it together. And finally, align the fourth polygon cut and group it together. And now you have a pretty cool looking pencil holder. Keep in mind, you can use any shape you'd like for the cutouts. You can also alter the dimensions. These dimensions seem to work pretty well for most 3D printers, but feel free to explore. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and happy creating!